Bitcoin Cash ready for another leg up? Well, it's kind of hard to say, but the chart seems to agree with that assumption. So we're sitting at 747 right now. We have the prior high at $930. That's pretty good. It's almost 200 bucks, about $107, $185 increase. Can't get too mad at that. It's about 20%. So what we have here is I'm actually on the 15-minute chart of Bitcoin Cash. I can fit the entirety of the chart here, and what you'll see are these very tidy chart patterns. You see a pennant down here, which I highlighted prior. You'll see a parallel channel. You see a channel here. You'll see a trend line here being broken, then running up. Actually, you know what? For you IBD fans, this is an ascending base. Look at that, ascending base. So an ascending base, for you guys that don't know, is a pattern of three bases, one on top of the other, the prior high being supported by the next low, then it breaks out precipitously from there. Haven't seen that in the crypto world before. So this is a very, very well-performing chart. What a well-performing chart means, number one, is that if you see a configuration, if you see something actually happening, you can probably bet on it actually occurring. That's kind of what may be happening here. We're in a larger base. This is its largest base so far. It's, base since the fork here, and then came up, and here's another base, and came up, and here's a downtrend. Now we're in a much larger base. One thing that's really great to notice here, I'll be honest with you guys, this is probably one of the better looking chart patterns in terms of a cryptocurrency that I've seen. I'd have to go back and check Bitcoin, but the fact that Bitcoin Cash is so big so early on in its young crypto life really gives us an opportunity here to teach some good information. So what we have here is we have these two huge candles with massive volume. I mean, the biggest going back over here. So that ended this move up. And then what we see is a slow decline in volume until the point where we are now, where volume is minuscule. Volume is very minuscule, meaning that the supply has dried up. There's not a lot of sellers in this market. We have this prior low that's been held, giving us this large pennant pattern. So we have these other bases, but in this large pennant pattern, the bases don't kind of matter, to be quite honest with you. This is a larger pattern, indicating that, I can't say this for sure, but that this kind of a move may be coming again. I can't say it's going to come right now directly out of, this candle right here. It probably won't, but if it may have another leg down. It may flounder around here a little bit. In other words, what I'm trying to say is it's impossible to know exactly when these are going to break, but if you're paying attention and you're watching and you're confident enough to take the trade, I think this is a pretty good trade worth taking when it arrives. For two reasons. Number one, because yes, you're going to have a huge percentage increase on this. I don't think there's a huge doubt about that. But the other part of it is that if you want to have a stop on this trade, you only have a 10% loss until you reach these lows again. So I don't think that's a bad risk reward at all, because you have 10% down for a potential 25% increase just to the top here. So that's a 1.5 to 1 ratio. Isn't horrible, but as these bitcoins go, it can go much further than that, as we all know. Let's dig in just a little bit more, just kind of see recently what's been happening. Again, I'm on the 15-minute chart, just so you're aware. So we have a larger set of candles here at this little high, which came back and rolled up. And notice we have a higher low from this low. This is a higher low. This is a higher low. Now we're waiting for this lower high to be taken out. We have a high here. We have a high here. So this is a lower high. This is a lower high as well. And if you think about it, low high, lower high, lower high, this could in theory be the first higher high. This candle right here. Because if we look in this base, we see what looks like one other higher high in this entire base. So we have we have this is a high, lower high, lower high. This is a higher high from this, which is why I drew this trend line here. I drew this here last night waiting for something to happen. I actually got into it, I forget exactly where, but I took a very small loss. It was like $10. It was an extraordinarily small loss. I got out of the trade. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, so I got out of it. And then we have a lower high from this one, lower high, lower high. This is a higher high. This is a lower high from this. So ideally we need to see higher highs before we can actually really get interested, at least for me, in this cryptocurrency. We have a double bottom here, so this level's being supported, which is nice. And really what we're going to be looking for, like I said, a higher high. If this thing comes down again, if it's still really low volume, I may even take a flyer at a low. I typically don't trade at lows. Buying low and selling high is kind of a risky game, but what I'm noticing in these cryptocurrencies is it's not always the case. You can, like, if you buy these dips, if you buy these big dips like this, you're getting a return a majority of the time, especially if it's in a leading cryptocurrency that has a recent run or is in the middle of a run. You can actually buy these big dips. That's typically not my trading style, but I'm noticing that that's a thing, so I may take advantage of that. I was actually I was looking at it down here at this double bottom, wondering if I should take a position. I did not. I'm regretting that a little bit just because I would have liked that, if nothing else, just to prove to myself that I can buy those lows. So yeah, that's Bitcoin Cash in a nutshell. Where we're sitting at right now, we're at very low volume levels. I don't think, ever seen this type of low volume going back prior to, since the huge breakout from 300. I think that was Friday. Man, was that Friday? Maybe it was Thursday, but anyway, we haven't seen this low volume levels ever since. So this is actually a pretty good place, a pretty good level. If you can get in below 750, and if you're willing to hold on to it and take a risk down to the 675 level, I don't think that's a bad trade. It's a good risk reward. If you want to wait for a breakout, let's wait for let's wait for some volume to come in. Let's wait for a higher high, one or both of those to occur, and then I'd be in and ready for the race. So that's Bitcoin Cash on a Sunday evening in Phoenix, Arizona. All right, happy trading, guys.